Hello and welcome to Talkin Really. And you may have heard this because it's been out, nearly 2 weeks. The government are planning to cut the access to work or change how it's made and applications for it. But considering that this is a fund to help pay for work, help to pay for adaptations to work, help you to get to work yourself if you're working or if you're self-employed, it is quite a good little fund. It can help you with training, it can help you with equipment, it can help you with transportation to work. So £69,000 per year per person as well. That's quite a lot of money. However, only about 1% of working disabled people are claiming it. So I don't know how many that is in total, but if you take it 1% times £69,000, it isn't a lot in the bigger terms of things. When you think about this is Labour's new cut that they want to get rid of. But when you think about the small amount of money that it actually probably is compared to other things that they could be looking at, it seems a bit silly. And it also seems a bit silly when everybody in the government is on about getting people back to work, disabled people especially. I mean, there is the age-old argument about what jobs can disabled people do, because, I mean, to be fair, there aren't many suitable jobs, and if there are, they're probably oversubscribed. And from personal experience, if you're a disabled person up against able-bodied in a job, you're probably not going to win. And I know that's a bit of a generalisation, I know that, because it's all down to your merits, and I've had job offers for jobs I am qualified for, and obviously then decided either way that I take it or leave it. But of course, Labour, they want to cut this, which does not seem any sort of sensible decision, because if they want to encourage you to go to work, get back to work or go to work, then, and they're going to remove this support, what are they going to do in between? Here's the story. It's in Disability News Service.
Ministers appear to be set to announce cuts to a flagship disability employment scheme, just as the government is trying to push more disabled people towards the workplace. Sir Stephen Timms, pictured, the Social Security and Disability Minister, told MPs yesterday that the Access to Work scheme was unlikely to be sustainable in the long term, and needed to be better and more effective. He pointed to the very high level of demand, and said ministers were looking at whether actually employers could do more through some fairly significant reforms to access to work. His comments to the Commons Work and Pensions Committee yesterday, Wednesday, suggest that ministers will take measures to cut the number of disabled people eligible for the scheme, and increase obligations on employers to make more adjustments themselves in the workplace. Only last month, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said the government's approach to social security would ensure that work is accessible to as many people as possible, including disabled people. Sir Stephen's comments follow years of rising numbers of recipients of access to work support, apart from the first year of the pandemic, and mounting backlogs and delays. Employment Minister Alison McGovern said last year that there were about 55,000 access to work applications yet to be dealt with on the 7th of October. While DWP figures later that month showed that the amount spent on assistance such as equipment, travel and support workers increased from £127 million in 2016-17 to £255 million in 2023-24, once the effects of inflation had been allowed for. It also increased by 34% in the last year, from £191 million in 2022-23 to £255 million in 2023-24, while the number of disabled people receiving access to work support increased from 34,800 in 2022-23 to 49,920 in 2023-24, a rise of 43%. Sir Stephen had been responding to concerns raised by disabled Liberal Democrat MP Steve Darling. Darling said he was concerned that the backlogs in the system could be exacerbating vulnerabilities, and he pointed to 2 disabled women who had reported serious delays. One of them, a constituent, was told she would need to wait 6 months for access to work support, while another disabled woman was facing the possibility of a job offer being withdrawn because it had gone on for months with access to work failing to process the claim. He said, "We want to help people back into work, and yet the department is part of the problem." Darling asked if DWP had set a 28-day target for dealing with new claims and processing payments on existing claims because disabled people can find themselves thousands of pounds in arrears, which he said was impoverishing many people. Sir Stephen told him, "The problem is that there has been an enormous surge in applications for access to work. A number of us will remember that we used to talk about access to work as a kind of best-kept secret because nobody really knew about it and employers didn't know about it. Well, that seems to have changed in the last 2 years, and there's been an enormous surge in applications for access to work and the department has done its level best to keep up." He said DWP had allocated more staff to deal with applications, but the system was still not in good shape at the moment. He said, "So I think what we're going to need to do, and we will touch on this in the Green Paper, due to be published next month, as well, I think we're going to need to make some fairly significant reforms to access to work, look again at the whole approach we're taking, look at whether actually employers could do more. There are legal obligations on employers to make reasonable adjustments. I'm wondering whether there's more we can do there." He pointed to the government's Keep Britain Working review, which is being led by Sir Charlie Mayfield, former chair of John Lewis Partnership, and will focus on understanding what employers and government can do to increase the recruitment, retention and return to work of disabled people and people with long-term health conditions. Sir Stephen said the review would look specifically at what employers should be doing and can do to improve opportunities for disabled people, people with health impairments, to get into work, and stay in work, and do well in work. "So I think there's quite a big issue here, and I think the current style of access to work is unlikely to be sustainable in the long term. We've got to come up with something better and more effective given the current very high level of demand."
I had a little chuckle there when it was Mr. Darling. Do you remember that on Blackadder? Yes, darling. Hello, darling. Hello, darling. Yeah, so, yes, very interesting. And of course, there's more people on it than I thought. And the quote that I saw, it was 1%. That seems like a lot more than 1% of disabled people are actually, well, it doesn't really tell me how many are in work. So it's difficult to know if this is like a small amount or large amount. But for them, it's costing them 255 million. That was last year. Obviously, it's going to be probably more this current year. And of course, they want to cut everything because they reckon there's this invisible problem that they have. They've created. It's not anything that anybody really can put their finger on, but it's something that they made up, I think. Please look at my other video. I've done another video. What is access to work? It's a new video in the series. I haven't done one of those what is videos for many years, so I thought I'd do one and see what you think. Right, yes, and as I say, there are a number of people out there in social media land that offer to do these applications for you, but of course bear in mind that they will put on their fees as a training or advice function, and so you will be paying for it eventually. And the application, obviously, when they do it, I don't know whether they offer a guarantee or not, but majority of them will be successful because they obviously want to get paid. If you need help or advice, then please consider that I do one-to-ones as well. You can find that on the website. Right, that's it from me. Have a very good day, and we'll catch you later. Bye for now.